FireButton Podcast number 15.
Number 15.
14.
15.
Was it 15?
It's 15.
4.
Right, I'm Steve,
I'm Jay.
I'm Spike.
I'm Harry.
and today's topics are going to be what we've been playing, discussion about game controllers, and a brief little talk about the new Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat!
Oh.
Indeed. So,
That one.
So guys, what have we been playing?
so what have we been playing then?
What have we been playing?
No. I've been playing a metric shed ton of Geometry Wars. It's the
How much is a
second
metric shed ton?
one. A metric shed ton is almost like a metric shit ton, but with more sheds.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's the second one, which I can't remember what it's called. It's not Retro Evolved, it's
It is. It's Geometry Wars Retro Evolved 2.
Retro Evolved 2. Aha.
And then three's dimensions.
Yeah, three
Yes.
dimensions. And it's so great. It's got. If for those not familiar with Geometry Wars, it's basically a twin stick shooter. Think Robotron, but with like fantastic shapes trying to get you and lots of explosions and colours, and it's great.
Score attack game, neon
Score
graphics,
attack.
awesome music.
And on this one that I like is there's like loads of different challenges for. There's one. My favourite one at the minute is called Pacifism, where you're not allowed to fire a single shot, but you have to fly through these gates and the shockwave of that gets the enemies, and that's how you get the points. It's really cool. And there's like the timed one, and then there's one where you can only shoot from inside circles. It's great. I love that game. But anyway, enough about me.
So it's a big ass score challenge thing, isn't it, if I remember right?
Yeah. I've been trying to systematically go and knock Jay's scores off them all, and the only one I'm good at, he's like beat me like so hard, and I'm like, you're horrible.
Sorry, I wasn't even
You're a
close.
monster.
And then I sort of, I'm just going to try this new thing, and I'm sort of not concentrating. I'm daydreaming.
Your original score was like 6 million, which
Yeah.
is not to be sneezed at. I got the score 10 million. And then he's trying to beat it, getting like 1 million a pop. And then all of a sudden he's like 30 million. And I'm like, fuck you, Jay.
I'm sorry.
Fuck
I'm
you.
sorry.
Terms of running a centipede, and you guys tend to get into score attack like
We'll try.
heat matches a lot, don't you?
It's because that's what bros do. Yeah. So, I've been playing, like, I know previously on one podcast I said, I've been playing Wonder Boy and Monsterland.
When he's not knocking my scores
I've
off.
been playing Wonder Boy and Monster World.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not entirely the same game. It's like an update of Wonder Boy and Monsterland. It's on the Sega Vintage Collection, which I actually got for the other game, Monster World 4, which never came out officially over here until that collection. But, I'm playing through them all, and Wonder Boy Monster World is kind of like an update, but
It has great music. And
so
great graphics.
Metroidvania it hurts.
Would it not predate Metroid?
No, I think it came out around the same time. It definitely predates Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Well, yeah, but that's different.
What can I say? It's a game about a young hero with wild hair who uses an ocarina at one point to open doors. That sound familiar? Came out before Ocarina of Time.
To be fair, Link doesn't have wild hair. It's boring curtains, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, Shion.
Pink? What's wild,
It's
right?
pink.
Yeah,
It's pink in Link to the Past, and that is
Yeah.
fantastic. I wish we had Link with pink hair more often.
Shion the Wonder Boy has blue hair. It's blue. Yeah, it's a great game, great music, and I'm almost at the end, so I can finally do one Monster World 4 with that's got Asha. She's a sort of female, sort of Middle Eastern type character, and I'm quite excited about that.
Was it an upcoming thing, or is it an old release but you haven't got around
It's
to
an old release. It came out in Japan, but was never translated for the Western audience until this Sega Vintage Collection, which is a couple of years old, but I've only just got around to it.
Because of that.
Right.
And Steve is dying.
Oh yeah, sorry about that,
Don't
guys.
die, Steve.
I've got a bit of
We've all got a bit of a crackly cough, so if we cough a little bit, apologies.
Except me. Don't give it to me, any of you.
No, sharing is caring.
I don't care.
Now, I've been playing an awful...
Shadows of Mordor again.
Shadows of Mordor. I've been playing an awful lot of Shadows of Mordor because I do quite enjoy hunting down orcs and finding weaknesses and just stalking them down. The hunter method thing, it really appeals to me as a player. The only other thing I've played a lot of recently was South Park and the Stick of Truth, just because that is just silly. And I like to play it with Steve, simply because I like to see Steve's reaction to things. There's nothing quite like going into your parents' house, or going into any house for that matter, having a massive shit as a mini-game, taking said shit out of the bowl and using it to throw at people in combat to gross them out, which is a status effect. And that's just the basic combat premise. It's a silly game, and it's also a lot of fun.
Turn-based combat.
Turn-based combat. It's about as close to any of the Japanese Final Fantasy turn-based, everyone stand in a line, let's hit this giant monster one at a time kind of combat that I'm ever going to get.
I remember Final Fantasy VII with Cloud's giant poo sword.
Exactly, see? It needs more poo.
Booster sword.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
I'm similar to Michael. I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Really? You're playing a Resident Evil game again?
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? This one's actually really good, though. I mean,
compared to the others.
yeah, I know. Right, if we, you may have watched the prelude we did for Resident Evil 6 when we first got it. Yeah, new toy syndrome has faded. That game is shit. Right? But Revelations 2, they've took it, they've dialed the notches back a bit. It's not all action all the time now. The raid mode, yeah, that's an arcadey shooter mode. But the main game actually plays, you have to try and be a bit more sneaky, juggle your supplies. It's a bit more like the old ones. You can't just charge in and hope for the best with like your machine guns, assault rifles, magnums and stuff. Although saying that, the game's split into two halves. You play as Claire and Moira, and you're basically trying to survive this chaos and stuff. Barry's there picking up pieces, so breaking Resident Evil tradition, he comes in with a pistol and a magnum, which means he's prepared. That's never happened in a Resident Evil game before. I don't know where I'm going with this.
He prepares sandwiches.
He does prepare sandwiches, and there's lots of callbacks to his cheesy one-liners, yeah. I don't know. As far as games go, I'd say it's probably up there in the Resident Evil franchise. It's a nice return to form.
That's good. I would say the thing about the Resident Evil series was it was classical, and then it kind of went mainstream as it could go. If it's going back to its original roots, that surely can't be a good bad thing.
Well, yeah, the thing is, with Resident Evil 7 looming and is apparently going to be either announced or something this year, I think they're going to just basically Revelations is itself, it's its own sub-series, and they're trying to harken back to the olden days of sepia tone and rose-tinted glasses.
And shoveling.
And shoveling.
And Master of Unlocking.
And Masters of Unlocking, whereas I think the main series now is completely doomed to be Call of Duty blasty with freaks.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I've been playing. So, our first topic then.
Yeah, controller discussion. This sort of came about because... what did I say? I said, yes, it's lovely to play some Capcom vs. SNK 2 with a controller that's not shit, because I got a PS2 compatible arcade stick, and this sort of had Steve waving his arms around in anger.
Oh no, I wasn't waving.
Because you like the PlayStation controllers.
I do.
That's kind of interesting though, because I know arcade sticks exist for consoles because they are emulating the sticks and buttons you get on arcade cabinets from ye olden times of arcades.
It is not just a clever name.
And yeah, exactly. And it seemed like witchcraft to me, because you, instead of a pad with your little buttons on, you've got this gigantic stick and big gigantic buttons you have to throw your entire body against to hit. And I couldn't understand how someone could fight with it, but actually watching Jay play Street Fighter with it, I can totally see how it works now. It's like witchcraft.
It's actually because you can get more dexterity for the really precise inputs when you get used to it.
You can't smudge the controls so much either.
That's the thing. I mean, when you compare the muscle at the ball of your thumb, that actually it can do some precise movements, but not really too quickly compared to the action on your wrist and elbow combined for a stick.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You can actually get much faster inputs. You know, you can wiggle a stick left and right much quicker than you can your thumb left and right on a controller. But the thing is, it's turning that speed into precision, which takes some time. But that's the end game of arcade sticks. That's why it's totally worth it.
You know,
It
it's
sounds
weird.
amazing.
Thinking about all like arcade sticks and joysticks in general, I'm just thinking of car gear shift levers. And things. How come there's never been a steering wheel thing with that exact kind of peripheral going on?
Steve, sorry, it just reminded me. I used to play Sonic CD on the PC computer with a joystick.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing. A flight simulator joystick.
Wow.
I'm not
I will
sure how
pilot
I
this
managed
Hodgehog.
it. Well, clearly I didn't, because
Hodgehog?
I never got
Hodgehog.
past the boss.
That's officially called Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I bodged that a bit.
In regards to... oh, sorry, Jay.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say about those flight-style joysticks. It's kind of weird. I'm an arcade guy, having lived at the coast. Yeah,
Really?
We know. And, they're sort of ball on a stick, arcade stick, and the buttons, they're like some of my favourite controllers. Not my absolute favourite, but I might get onto that later. And you get stuff like Afterburner, a sort of arcade, plain shooting game, and you got the flight style joystick, and all of a sudden it's like the buttons are on the stick. You've got a sort of trigger and a thing where your thumb goes, and I'm like, what is this shit?
And it's meant to be emulating a real flight stick.
I know, and the thing about those is, pilots are trained to use them, but for me, it's like the same hand is doing the moving and the firing. This is heresy. It's witchcraft. I don't like this.
Now, you see, I'm exactly the opposite. Two particular controllers for me. When I was playing, I played firstly a game called X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter on the PC.
Yeah, it's a legend.
It's basically Flight Simulator, except you're playing as either the Empire or the Rebels, doing missions from the cockpit of one of the...
Really? I thought it would be the Federation of the Klingons all the time.
yes, well, no,
X-Wing
because-
versus TIE Fighter.
Thank you, Steve.
I want that Klingon game that you just spoke about.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. You ruined it all for me.
No, carry on. Go on.
Right, no, it's alright. Yeah, so, me being me, TIE Fighters all the way, just because I like, obviously, being a child at 4... even at 12, 13 years old, but I was on the keypad on the PC, so it was like WSA and D, up, down, left and right, using the mouse to try and steer it. And it was an absolute nightmare trying to fly it like that.
You need 3 hands.
They are kind of like Doom Quake style controllers to WSD and mouse.
Well, yeah, see, that was, I was flying, steering, shooting all at the same time, and moving shields around, up and down speed. It was a nightmare. Then I got a flight controller. I got one of those flight joysticks we're just talking about now. I only needed to do 2 things. My left hand was shields and engines, and the joystick did everything else, and all of a sudden I aced that game. I was struggling with it for 6 months solid with these keys. 2 weeks, blasted through it.
I guess that kind of works though because you're actually flying, so,
Yeah, well, no,
as opposed to me just playing Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
There you are, sort of using the right tool for the right job.
Yeah, I mean, and it works so
I
well.
don't mind the whole, when you're playing like a simulator adventure game like that kind of thing. I mean, I used to play Mech Warrior a shit ton on the PC, and that was like really keyboard intensive. Like,
Yes.
17 different keys you have to fucking memorise, like for your jump jets, your engines, your weapons, your mobility. But no, I can't comprehend using either an arcade stick or a joystick. I'm too cumbersome
No, I
with
think
my giant hands.
I think it's a case of setting the ways, because now it's got to the point where I go around Jay's an awful lot, and he's got obviously this wonderful collection of old consoles, and so I'll sit there looking at Jay, what's that? And he's like, oh no, that's this controller for this. I'm like, it looks like a spaceship.
Oh, are you on about the, what is it?
Sega Saturn.
That's it. No!
The analog controller for the Sega Saturn, that was it.
Was that the one with the 3
AKA
prongs?
the fat controller.
It looks like a tiny UFO with a lead. It's awesome, but still, I'm just like, what is it?
Which is the one with the 3 prongs? With
That
the
would be
analog
the Nintendo 64
Oh,
controller.
that's-
And then
that was
again,
always an odd one.
yeah, I would say the Nintendo. Was it a gun? Was it keypad? What the hell was going
You
on
cut
there?
the cord off and it's a really wonky batarang.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, people were always freaked out about the 3 prongs on that. You were never supposed to use like all 3 prongs. You were supposed to grab onto 2, but it sort of freaked people
Yeah,
out.
but you have to
see
hold the
these 3
middle one
things,
and
it's
an
like,
edge one, and it's not symmetrical and you feel weird.
all right, yeah.
Try playing Wipeout with that is weird.
Oh, I
yeah.
can't imagine that being any kind of fun. The other one I've got is, it's an absolute personal love of mine. It's a little story, so I'll be as quick as I can. It's, when I lived in the hostels, me and my friend, we used to get both of our TVs into one room, both of our Xboxes into one room, and literally just blast the night away on Halo, because we had nothing better to do, and obviously Halo 2 came out, the multiplayer expanded, so we went with that. Now, I had a Mad Catz controller.
Yeah, but isn't that essentially just a standard controller, but like toned and topped? Like,
It was a pretty decent, and I'd played with old school Xbox, because believe me, it took the transition from PlayStation to Xbox controller took me
Yeah,
a while.
Oh
That's
gosh,
an
I
alien
don't
one,
get
isn't
me
it?
started on that. I got a story. Okay, carry on. Well,
But
it's not a
they're-
story.
no, but they are so big and so chunky, they were terrible controllers. Now, I got a Mad Catz once, which was streamlined, buttons in all the similar places, but it was streamlined, it felt good, it also made out of clear plastic, and because I'm such a massive kid, had a button that made it glow up from the inside, because yay! So I'm there playing with it, and it got to the point where I'm a sniper by trade, especially in the Halo games. So, went to
by
snipe.
trade, by real life.
By
you
real
got-
life, I am actually a hitman. It's what I do
Yeah.
outside of FireButton. But no, in Halo, you have to double click in a toggle to zoom in. So click, 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 click. And my toggle, because of overuse, of sheer shitting overuse, started to squeak. So I'm sat in a room with 2 guys on the bed, and they're watching X. They're playing on one screen, so I can't see it. And I've got my TV turned one side, and I'm playing in the corner. And every time, it just got to the point where nobody'd moved, because they knew if I'd moved, I was in a spot where I could headshot them, because I've just got to a point of ridiculous skill with it. And it got to the point where I just go, oh fuck, they're not moving. And I just go, squeak, squeak, and then literally just start belting from and I'm like, it worked, and then I just popped them. It literally got to the point I used the Mad Cat squeaky analog to flush out my enemies.
So hang on, but because the pad was knackered,
Yeah,
you used
because
it to your advantage.
I used the fact that it wasn't knackered at all. It worked perfectly fine. It's just because I tapped it in twice, they listened for the squeak, 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 squeak.
Oh, that's some great.
That's just
mind games
natural
there.
wear and tear. My aforementioned Sega Saturn analog controller, the digital cross pad of it, squeaks.
Sort of going to what Spike was saying about sometimes just setting your ways with the controller. So I grew up with the PlayStation, and those know that PlayStation pads haven't really changed shape, size, or design from PlayStation 1 right through to PlayStation 3. Which
I'll second that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty comfortable with them. And then, obviously, I move here and Jay's got an Xbox, and I've got to get used to the Xbox. And the Xbox pads, the Xbox 360 pads, are huge, and I have tiny hands.
See, you should have seen the original Xbox pads.
Well,
They're horrific.
But for reference, I'm a tattooist, and I'm the only person in the shop that wears extra small gloves. My hands are that small. So I didn't want to play anything on the Xbox 360 because the pads are huge. So what I did is I went to a non-branded supermarché and bought a Skylanders Xbox 360 pad, which is the tiniest thing ever.
It's for children.
Well, you should see my watch. That's for children, but it's because I'm so small, and yeah, I love that pad because it just fits so nice, and it's actually smaller than the PlayStation pads now. A PlayStation pad feels big now. And you press a button and it lights up from the inside.
Yay.
See, the whole moving from one genre of controls to another. I mean, I pretty much got a 360 about 2008, 2009, something like that. So it's not early into its lifespan. But I was always like PS2 and GameCube for me.
Yeah.
So when I went and jumped onto it, that was a very fucking jarring experience. D-pads where analog sticks are and stuff. You know, and the way that the shape and feel of it,
It's strange now, actually, because it's got to the point where if I pick up an Xbox pad and it's a knockoff brand or something, even the weight and ratio doesn't feel right. It's just literally weird.
Yeah, I don't know, it feels a bit strange. Anyway, basically, I had a bit of a jarring experience going from one pad type to another, so try and be universal, guys. That's the moral of the story there.
It is indeed.
So, right. Next week, actually, I think by the time this podcast goes out, it's Tuesday? It'll be going out, or go out on Monday. Mortal Kombat 10 lands.
Yes,
What day is it
Mortal
today?
Kombat 10 lands in a couple of days from when we're recording this, so it should be out with this podcast.
Yeah,
We're going to talk a little bit about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, notoriously, in my opinion, it's always been a bit of a shit fighting game, but it actually looks like it's going to become fun this year.
It actually is. That's one of the reasons why it's so popular.
I love Mortal Kombat, the old ones, because they're shit.
Yeah.
Seriously, even the first one, which is clunky as hell, one of the things I love about that is you play it and you've got all these sort of it's a photo montage with computer-generated things. It looks like a multimedia student's college project.
It was only made by like 3 or 4 people.
Actually, I think about 10, 11 people.
That's still not a lot of people.
That's tiny for development teams these days. But yeah, it was a bunch of guys that were making games that just cobbled together all this stuff. I mean, they knew some actors and martial artists who could pose for photos.
And they basically
against the blue screen.
Is it the ESRB?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was so violent at the time they needed to make a rating system for video games. This is what...
The legacy of like 12 guys.
And now everyone ignores the rating system.
Yeah.
Well, people tend to...
Yeah, it's just like, you look at all these images in the first Mortal Kombat, they're all photos from somewhere all cobbled together. The light sources are completely different. Some are sharper than others. It's a really fucking cobbled together game. But
the sound effects, though. Some of them are fucking fantastic.
The sounds were amazing. I was showing Spike yesterday. I was like, hey, Spike, look at all these nut punches. And, I'm just going through the game as Johnny Cage. Just listen to the crunch.
You see, the brilliant thing was I knew exactly when he went to Liu Kang. Yeah, just because they're like, whoa!
The guy voice acting him had so much fun because it's like, woo!
And I still is it the high punch or just go?
Well, it's that one, but of course you've got
What?
It's the kick across the level, isn't it?
The bicycle kick, which is brilliant.
But
those of you at home, hold low kick for 2 seconds. 2 seconds? They're like
3 to
seconds,
4,
but short. Is it 3 to 4?
3 to 4.
Ah, well, hold
3 and 1 and 2.
Hold low kick until you grow a beard, then release.
So the most important thing about the new Mortal Kombat game
Is it
No,
because
this
you keep calling it pre-Predator?
It's
Yeah.
the pre-Predator game.
Spike doesn't play fighting games except bloody Raw.
Yes.
And now he's suddenly interested in Mortal Kombat because Predator.
Because Predator. Because on the previews they've released, we've got Jason Voorhees from obviously the Jason
Friday the
Voorhees
13th.
Friday the 13th films. We've got a couple of special characters back from the other Mortal Kombat games. As far as
Tanya and Tremor, yeah.
right, and then all of a sudden the last preview was just Predator decloaking, and Spike.
Can
shit.
you do that thing for the viewers? That thing you do with the Predator?
No, I can't.
Oh.
Not with the throat. I can do the clicky noise.
So about that Predator, here's a little trivia, right? Okay, Mortal Kombat was originally conceived as a Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting
Bloodsport,
game.
wasn't it? Something like that.
Sort of based around it. You know, the hype about Street Fighter 2, you got this American company Midway, they're like, let's make a fighting game with real graphics. And, you know, they sort of wanted
Real.
to get so real it hurts. That was the Arcade Flyer slogan for the original Mortal Kombat. And, you know... yes. And, you know, they want to get Jean-Claude Van Damme in. Of course, you know, games weren't taken seriously back then, not like they are now. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, he had films to do, right? So they got some other guy in, Daniel Pacina, was it Daniel Pacina?
Yeah,
I don't know. To play Johnny Cage, who was the Jean-Claude Van Damme redesign,
Knockoff.
basically. Yeah, knockoff. I mean, they had a Bruce Lee knockoff with Liu Kang. Now, the thing is... about the Predator and Jean-Claude Van Damme. What is it?
The original thing about the Predator, I love the fact that Jay just goes, and Spike's turn. The original thing about the Predator, in the first Predator film, before you actually see him decloak properly for the first time, the Predator in that film is actually Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Full circle.
Full circle. Jean-Claude
did
Van
not
Damme was in the
know that.
original Predator film. When you see the Predator grab someone from behind the first time and stab him while cloaked, and you see the yellow eyes flash, that's actually Jean-Claude Van Damme in a white suit. But he realised about halfway through the production that he was just, for all intents and purposes, a stuntman, and he was never going to get famous. So they actually replaced him with a 6-7 foot tall African-American ballet dancer, a bloke, who actually played the Sasquatch from Harry and the...
Bigfoot and the Hendersons.
Bigfoot and the Hendersons.
Whoa.
It's the same guy. Predator
That's
and the
Predator?
Sasquatch is the same guy. But it used to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. So there you go, full circle. Jean-Claude Van Damme was the original base.
Hang on a minute. I'm reeling from Harry and the Hendersons' Predator.
got-
Harry and the Hendersons' Predator.
Hey, I can make another circle. He played a Sasquatch. There's a Sasquatch in the game Darkstalkers, which is a gory fighting game like Mortal Kombat. Hey!
And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, while Steve's getting his shit together, we shall say toodly-doo.
Okay.
But what about the stop motion? I think Mortal Kombat should
Goro.
go back.
Yeah, that's
Go
another
back.
thing.
Make it stop motion again, I'll be happy.
Yes, because Goro,
Claymation.
Kintaro, Shiva, my waifu, Shiva.
I thought that was like a special effects suit. That was actually.
No, that's stop motion.
it?
That was a
That's
little...
a model
that was
that they animated frame by frame.
That's
Because-
It's a tiny latex armature. It's
She's
probably
got a lot
about...
more detail than the other pair did.
I know.
Well, I know.
They coned their craft,
It's their
obviously.
third game, you know. They did Motaro and Shiva for that game. But by then, they'd learned their shit.
That's a hell of a hand job.
You and three other guys, you know. Party.
Now I think we should go.
Now, on that note, on a J note, no less.
Right, thanks for listening, guys.
Two little pips.
Bye.